going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Major Keyz podcast with your host, Zach Wilson. This is episode 1 of my installment of showcasing all of my teachers that made me who I am today. Right now, I have with me a special guest, the first person who ever put my hands on a piano, taught me where middle C was, didn't give up on me. This is Mr. Mark Mitchell. Mark Mitchell, how you doing today, man?
I'm fine, sir. How about yourself?
I'm good. Make sure you're talking.
I'm fine, sir. How about yourself?
We're good. What do you have? What do you have going on nowadays?
Well, we're still doing the same thing, teaching students and children how to play and perform. We're still doing the same thing. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And putting together shows. Try to keep the work part of it from getting so boring by using performance ensembles. Ensembles, where the student can go out and perform some of the top 40 stuff.
Yeah.
Because when I was coming up, we didn't do that. We was just reading the classical music, and that was all you could do. Matter of fact, they didn't even want you to improvise, though. They just want you to play the music just like it is.
Yeah. Didn't want you to go anywhere outside of that sheet music. Nothing outside of it.
Nothing outside. That's right.
Got you. All right. Well, Mr. Mitchell, we want to start from the top. How did you get started playing piano?
My grandmother started me on piano. I was 5 years old, and somehow that was my love. If I couldn't play a piece by bedtime, I couldn't sleep. So I would wake up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I get back on the piano, because I had to learn to play that piece. And, of course, back then, the walls were very thin. So it was like she was right in the room with me, and I'm trying to learn how to play, and she's trying to sleep so she can get up that morning. So eventually she took the garage and turned it into a studio, put that piano and organ out there, and me also. Matter of fact, she built a bathroom out there where I could, use the commode and stuff. Anyway, that's why I stayed, because the music was annoying to everyone in the house. But I couldn't sleep unless I could play that piece. Yeah. And that's how I started at 5 years old.
And how many people were in the house, though?
My grandma. It was just 3 of us then.
Okay,
my grandma and granddaddy.
Got you. So you started playing. So were you self-taught, or did you have a?
No, my grandma played piano. She taught me. All my family's musicians. My uncle taught me trumpet. I was 6. Yeah, he didn't take you till you're 6.
Yeah.
Theory, little pieces of theory that we still use today. That theory sheet, that's where it come from. The whole thing. What is the staff and how many notes in music? What kind of notes, etc.
Yeah.
That's where it come from. My uncle.
Gotcha.
But I was always taught to perform. I didn't start performing by ear until I was probably about 7 years old. I was trying to learn to play by ear. Songs like Pushover and things like that you would hear on the radio, once in a while.
Yeah. So you started kind of classically trained at 5.
Right.
Then you started playing by ear at 7, and then walk me through how it was learning music and what you were doing throughout high school and middle school and high school.
Okay, well, what happened at 9 years old? I started playing for Sunday school. 13, I started playing for a club.
Oh, at 13 years old.
At 13 years old.
What part of the world were you in? You in Houston?
Houston, Texas. Yeah. Back there in Houston, Texas, at that particular time in the 60s, you didn't have to worry about too much because all the neighborhoods was segregated anyway.
Yeah.
As long as you wasn't burning no rubber and acting crazy, you didn't have to worry about being stopped if you could drive a car. And so I would go to play at the club with the band. Well, the people at the club didn't say too much, I wouldn't drinking and stuff like that. They didn't say
So you were
They didn't
13.
care.
So how did you get picked up for those clubs? Like when you were 13 years old? Because who's coming
a
to a
band
13-year-old
member.
and like, oh yeah, hey man, we need you to play this gig for us.
Yeah, one of the band members knew a friend of mine's parents, I think, and they said, well, Mark can play pretty good. They were looking for a piano player, and they heard me play, and I could play the song. So they just took me with them when they got ready to go play. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the little money.
Uh-huh, yeah. And at that time, how much were you making per gig at that time? Because this is back in the day. So
yeah, it make it. Oh, if we got $10, that was good money.
$10.
Oh, what you talking about? $10 was good money for a gig. I remember I had a gig Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That was $30. Then I think the church was paying $15. So 30, that's $45 a week. Now, light bill was only $8 a month.
Yeah.
Your phone was maybe $4. Your water was over $4 or $6. You know, high rent was $32 a month.
Goodness gracious. So
we had it made. Your car note, if you had a car note, you had a nice car. Your car note wasn't gonna run you no more about $64 a month. So if you making $45 a week, boy,
you're balling. Oh yeah,
right. You making good money. Good money.
Goodness. All right. So 13 years old, you're in the club making $50 a week. Club. So were you playing at church when you were 13 years old?
Yeah.
When did you start in church?
I started in church around 9, but they just let me play for Sunday school. But I don't think it was about 11. Before I got about 11 years old, 12 years old, I started playing for the whole thing.
And this is basic. So this type of church is just like organ and drums, or is it just piano? Like, cause I know is it like a full band sort of?
During that church, during that time, they didn't have drums in church that much.
Yeah.
Mainly organ and piano, and most of the churches just wanted you to play them hymns.
Mm-hmm.
Now you had a few churches that you got into gospel, but most of them was just hymn. The church I came from, St. John, was a big church with all the school teachers and the lawyers and stuff. All they wanted was the hymn. Mm-hmm. Don't add nothing. Don't take away nothing. That's right. So, and they paid decent money every Sunday, you know.
Okay.
Of course, they had it. You know?
Yeah.
But then after I turned about 15, I think I bought my first car. That's when I got grown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, I had you had your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you're playing for clubs, and oh man, you're making money there. You know, I think I was making about $60 a week then. I mean, that's big time.
Yeah.
You know? Shoot. Anyway, I did that, and I progressed in doing that until I got drafted. Then I got drafted. I became a member of the Army Band, 23rd Army Band. I was a French horn player.
Okay, in the Army Band when you got drafted.
Mm-hmm. And I played for piano for the jazz band.
Okay.
So after that, I went to college and got my degree in music. And that's when I did my first traveling with Archie Bell and the Drills.
Yeah.
We had that hit record in 1969,
Gotcha.
Tighten Up.
Yeah.
That's what got me on the road. And from there, I traveled all over the world from playing and performing, you know, on concerts. I traveled with Archie Bell for a while, music director for the Drifters, the Tams, Marvin Cease. I worked with Johnny Taylor. I did recording with Eddie Kendricks. As a matter of fact, I did his last album with him. Who else? And a host of others. You know? It was just fun, you know. I did this all the way up until 99. By 99, I got kind of tired.
Okay. So you got tired of like traveling? You got tired of like the performance, or was it like the business? Like you got tired of like what specifically?
Mainly you get tired of the traveling. You stayed on the highway. Most of the time we stay on the highway all the way on. We get to the state or city that evening. Yeah. You go set up, sound check, take a nap, get you a little done and go perform. And after the performance, there's a party 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock you leave and trying to get to the next city. You know, and they just go on and on and on and on for years. And just sometimes.
So after a while,
tired.
you just like,
Yeah, you get tired. And I stayed out there all those years. I was just kind of burned out. I said, well, it's time to quit. Do something different. Of course, I never anticipated on coming to a small city.
Yeah.
I said I wasn't going to live in no small city.
So you're a big time.
I definitely wasn't going to teach nobody no piano.
And now look at you. In a small city.
Teaching
piano.
piano. Well, that tells you I'm not in control.
Exactly.
Anyway, I got a call from a young lady, I think it was Miss Favre's daughter, about playing at Usher's Temple. This was in 99 or 98. I said, man, no, I can't do that. Then I thought I might well take the job. Now, the job wasn't paying but $300.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I leave Atlanta and come way down to Perry for a $300 job?
Right.
That doesn't make sense. Anyway, I asked the Lord about it. And I asked him, I said, well, you got me down here in a little small country place. I can't make no money, do nothing. I said, I've been all over the world. He said, I know where you've been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that let you go there.
Mm.
I said, okay, what you want me to do? He said, I want you to raise me up some skillful praisers.
Mm.
He said, I'm tired of the musicians and the people in the church. They just do my music any kind of way.
Mm.
I want it skillful. The Levites were skillful. And I want you to raise me up some praises. So I said, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we came up with the idea of teaching piano. One lady down here, she's a beautician. She kept asking me to teach her son. And my wife said, well, you might as well. You're not doing nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. Then from one, here come another. Then
Mm-hmm.
here come another. Here come another. And that's how we got involved with teaching and everything. And
Gotcha.
One white guy came over to learn blues. And my brother
Talking your mic real quick, just checking.
Brother-in-law say, well,
Yeah.
I think you need to get yourself a studio. So that's when we moved down on Carroll Street and got things set up for a studio.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So it wasn't shortly after we moved down there, your dad bought you there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. A guy who played drum, Darryl Rogers.
Right.
He asked me about. He said, "Man, I like to play with you sometime." I said, "Okay."
Mm-hmm.
Well, his wife worked at a newspaper. She came by and said she needed an article. I said, "Okay, no problem."
Yeah.
So she did an article, and the school blew up. That's how we got started. I mean, haven't turned around since.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're good to go. Just checking. So let me go back because I knew part of that story. I ain't know the whole situation. But you were telling me, I want to go back to like when you were a student, because you were telling me last week you were like you weren't a good student. So you weren't a good piano student, or you weren't a good student in school because you didn't care about.
I wasn't a good student in high school.
Oh yeah. Because you were over there on that piano.
In high school, I didn't know about focusing. My mind was on other places.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and history and all that stuff didn't excite me.
Yeah.
So my mind was out the window.
Yeah.
When I went to college,
I
I wanted to learn everything.
Mm-hmm.
I know one day a time would come that I would walk through that door, and I don't want to walk through that door and someone could talk over my head when it come down to music.
Yeah.
So I learned everything I possibly could. I was focused when I went to college. My mind was just on learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I realized I could make A's and B's and everything, not only just music.
Yeah.
You know? But in high school, only thing I made A's in was music because I knew that anyway.
Gotcha.
But everything else was pretty low.
Man. But no, so were your parents were mad about that? Where they were like, hey, did they ever threaten to anything like, oh, you can't play piano if you can't get good grades or anything like that?
Because that wasn't gonna happen no way.
Oh, they knew that whatever happens, you're gonna be on that piano.
Yeah, they didn't never do that. My grandmother was always interested in me playing piano. That's why she taught me.
Yeah.
But no, we never had no ultimatums like that.
Gotcha.
My only thing my uncle told me was that when I got ready to go to school and major in music, he felt like I should major in something else so I would have a backup.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said I didn't need no backup.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to use a backup for? I'm going to either make it or die. I'm going to either be successful and play and make some money, or I can't eat.
Right.
So, I mean, when you be determined,
mm-hmm.
you know, you either going on top of the mountain or you not. What you going to do?
Right.
You hang in there till you get where you're going. You don't need no backup. Backup for what? When you get a backup, what you're saying is, chances are I'm not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you already doubted in yourself that you're not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So chances are you're not.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
if
you went 100%.
100%. I'm going to either make it or die. Who wants to die? Nobody.
Right.
So we do what?
We make it.
That's right. That's the other choice.
Yeah. I got you. So, man, I've heard people that have like just one particular goal and go for it. But man, like the determination that you had, and then of course your resume, you've been all over the place. What was one of the tell me about how the music business was, or at least the gig scene, like the music scene was then compared to how it is now, you think, or just music in general. Because I know it's changed, just a little bit between now and then.
The music in general has changed. Now, back in the day, the recording business was different. The whole rhythm section would record at the same time. Somebody made a mistake, we'd have to stop and start it all over again. Today, we don't do nothing. We use a machine for everything. Machine does the playing. You can take one finger and play 3 different notes, and the machine will put the chords to the machine will put the rhythm. The machine does everything. It's all about the machine today. Instead of being the talent.
And
the talent of, developing it. So music is, I wouldn't say it's better. I wouldn't say it's better at all. I say it's more mechanical. Even the last time I went into the studio, all I had to do was carry my keyboard and shoot. The keyboard already has 16 tracks in it.
Yeah.
And everything is just dedicated out, Do
you think the advancement of the technology makes it better or worse? And this is and I'm talking about for actual musicians, right? Not for people that just kind of spice things together, like say musicians who want to play with a band or anything like that. Because I can just play a MIDI track and then I can go in and take out wrong notes or whatever.
Yeah,
but do you think it's worse because you kind of lose the integrity, maybe the soulful integrity of it? I don't know if y'all recorded with click tracks when you were coming up, or if it was just the drummer kept the beat no matter what. If you sped up, you sped up. But I'm wondering if it's do you think it's ultimately better or worse, or do you just think that there's a good medium and there are pros and cons to both?
Well, some parts of it is better. We practice with a click track, because the drummer recorded with a click track. We can hear a click track, keep us definitely on the beat. But one of the things that if you listen to some of the old school music now, you'll hear where some of the notes are a little bit out of tune. So, but today's music, you're not going to find that. So, in a way, it was better, but in a way, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Today, you're going to find less skillful musicians. They're not that skillful like they used to be. And then on the other hand, you can find some very skillful ones.
Yeah.
It just depends on the individual person and the type of music that you're doing. It works. Now, some of the computers to me is a hinder. Even when you go in the store, you can do percentages. If you come from the old school, you'll do percentages and calculate the taxes and stuff like that in your head. But that cashier can't. That's why they have to put every little thing to give you the whole thing.
Yeah.
And they have to wait until the machine tell them what to give you, because they can't really calculate everything. Well, suppose that breaks down, then what?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing about the music. Sometimes the computers, hardware doesn't function properly. Then what does the musician do? Especially if you're depending on it.
Right.
I think every musician needs to know the note. And
Yeah.
then if you want a shortcut to keep from working so hard, that's a different.
Yeah.
But to doing it because you don't have no alternative,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a hinder.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah, because because sometimes I listen to older music, like the classics, the Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Stevie, all that sort of stuff, and then you hear. It's not necessarily right on the grid sometimes, and it just, it's just more soulful in my opinion. Some stuff. I'm not. This is not for everything. I'm not knocking everybody's music because there's good music now. There's good music back then. There's not so great music, but but I just think about. I do think about how it would have been growing up in that
Area.
that time. Yeah. But tell me about your first touring situation. Was that with Archie Bell and the
Yes.
Doves?
Yes.
So. Did you help form that group, or did you come in as a fill-in or something like that? Like how did that whole situation happen?
That whole situation happened. I and Archie and them, Lee-Bell, we all went to the same high school together.
Okay.
However, they were playing the talent shows when I was already performing, so I never did really try to get in them. But I was at a club one night, and a guy walked up to me. He said, "I like the way you play." I said, "What?" I started to mark him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Thank you." And it ended up being Willie Martin. And from that night, the bus picked me up that next week. We headed out to Arkansas. That was my first gig with Archie Bell.
And this is past college or this is before college?
That's after college.
After college.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I was school.
So actually, I'm because I know a lot about you, so I'm kind of going out of order.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go back. Tell me your the college experience. So what did they have you learning? And you were just a piano major, like a classical major, or like what were they teaching you?
I was
at
majoring
college?
in classical performing. Yeah, we did classical music.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I headed the Southwest competition in classical. We had competition in jazz, writing. I remember my first plane flight. I was going to Minnesota, Minneapolis, to represent the Southwest for a song I had written using all your theory, like French sixes and Italian sixes and German six. It was. It's been so long now.
Yeah.
Until a lot of it has gotten away from me, but that was my first plane flight.
Okay. Yeah.
First time I got a chance to fly. But yeah, my major was piano.
Okay.
Now in vocals, we did vocals. Normally I would pay for the choir. When the vocals would go to all state, because in college you had that all state choir where it would come together.
Yeah.
I was a good reader, so I would go, vocal wise to do the reading, stuff like that. But yeah, my major was piano, so I spent all my time pretty well on piano and theory.
Yeah.
Theory was kind of easy for me. I didn't have no problem.
Gotcha.
With theory. Matter of fact, I used to call out the final exam master because everybody knew I wasn't gonna miss nothing.
Yeah.
My whole time was dedicated to music, school. Yeah. I didn't party. I didn't go to no frat parties. I didn't go out and do none of that. I was a nerd. All I did was study and go to school.
Oh, man.
That's right. Till I graduated.
Got you. And then you graduated what year? And what college was this?
Alvin was college right outside of Houston, Texas, probably about 30 30 or 40 miles outside of Houston.
Okay. And what year did you graduate? Well, well, if you don't want to tell your age, you don't
I
have
don't
to.
care about telling my age. I'm 74 now. But this had to be in 60. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. 71, I came out the Army.
Mm-hmm.
They had to be about 74, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think the biggest lesson was when you were in the Army?
In the Army? Well, now, when I was in the Army, things wasn't all that good. See, because first of all, like I told them, me and the Army didn't get along.
Oh, okay.
Because I wasn't going to Vietnam and give my life for a country that I couldn't even walk through the front door of a hotel.
Oh,
but
yeah, because it was during
that's
that
right.
time. Yeah.
And so I wouldn't have, But however, God is good because even the people I talked to, they understood.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, we can't do it like that here. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I got in the Army band, and I stayed in the Army band until I had me to drive for a general. Okay. So I didn't have to worry about going no Vietnam and all that kind of stuff, doing all that. Yeah. And then I got out, got my degree, and went on.
Got you. Mm-hmm. Got you. And so you went. So how? So skipping forward, about how long were you with Archie Bell and them? About how long was that stint? I
stayed with Archie Bell at least to 1980. That's when I met Teresa.
Okay.
And I started staying in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, Archie Bell and the Drills had broken up right there at the end of 79 or 80 or something. Mm-hmm. And I don't forgot what had happened. Mm-hmm. I think Archie didn't want to do Soul Train, and the rest of the group wanted to do Soul Train.
Oh, why do you think he didn't want to go on the show? Because that's one of the biggest.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pull the mic up.
I don't know exactly why he didn't want to go, but I think that was the cause of the group breaking up. Huh. So I did go to the Carolinas with them, with the Drills. Okay. And me and Tommy Mays left and came to Atlanta. But I had met Teresa, and he was going to see, I can't think of her name now. This was back in 1980. Oh, that's 40 years ago, though. Yeah. No one I can't think. Anyway, Willie Morton told me, how come I left without asking him?
Oh, yeah.
Who told you to leave? I said, who told me to leave? Nobody tell me. I'm grown. Yeah. You can come back and get your stuff. I'm going to fire you. I said, you ain't got to worry about that. I quit.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I stayed in Atlanta. Okay. And got with Johnny Taylor, Joe Simon. I think Joe Simon was the next group. Got you. Yeah. And one of the reasons why, another thing, at that particular time, Teresa had everybody. That house sounded like a music conservatory. Yeah. You know, you had Bruno Spade over there playing guitar. He was with SOS Band. John Simpson, band, SOS Band. Tommy was with Joe Simon, trumpet player. Yeah. I mean, singers everywhere. I mean, every room, man. It was like music and...
It was just a good time.
Yeah.
Good music.
So that's what made me interested in staying. Mm-hmm. And I started setting them, getting connections. So I just stayed there. Never went home since. Yeah. I mean, except to visit. Right. I never moved back to.
And so basically, once one stint was over with one group, you moved on to the next. Yeah. Were you the musical directors in these groups, or did you just play the keys?
Some of them. Joe Simon was I started out with music director, and Joe Simon. No, was Johnny Taylor, but I was with the Drifters. Okay. Tams. Marvin Seats. Mm-hmm.
And so were y'all doing big festivals with other big artists? Was that a thing like that, like back in the day?
We did some festivals, but the thing that we did, we was on them at the Coliseums. Okay. Yeah, we from state to state, city to city. Yeah. That's mostly what we did. We did festivals, but we did a lot of concerts. Okay. Sometimes we would stop in the city through the week and do a club, you know. Yeah.
But so big stage, like maybe 5,000 people. Like maybe how many in each place? Yeah. Yeah. At least 5, 6, 7,000. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Cool.
Because even when the summer they came down here, remember we went to Atlanta?
Yeah.
It was over 2,000 in there.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Got you. And so you got tired. So after a while, after maybe 15, how long you think you did that? Maybe 15 years of touring and stuff like that.
That's 19.
19 years.
From 80 to 99.
Okay. So 80 to 99. So you're like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
So you came down. So you came down to Perry and you started Mitchell's Academy of Music.
Right.
When you started it, were you like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna go into it, or were you, or how confident were you in starting it?
Oh no, it wasn't that I didn't know what I was doing. The point of it was I didn't want to do it. No, I knew what I was doing, but I don't know if I wanted to be bothered.
Oh, okay.
That was the main thing.
Why do you think you just never wanted to teach? Do you think it was because back in the day you were like, I'm just above it, and you just wanted to perform and that sort of thing? Like, why didn't you want to teach?
Actually, I never thought about why I didn't want to teach. I just wasn't interested in teaching.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, I guess, I don't know. A lot of times the students not really interested. A lot of students take it because my grandma said or my mama said.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yet, instead, they don't want to spend their time practicing.
Yeah.
So it's vexing to me.
So it was like you didn't want to spend time trying to teach people who didn't really want to learn.
Right. Exactly.
Gotcha.
Right. But it turned out good. And I mean, it's amazing how I think one of my first students was a little junior.
Yeah, Vincent Glover? Absolutely.
And I said, dog, he cut on so fast. He was doing such a good job. But even I learned from him, too, because I think at the time he was about 5 years old. And we were doing once a week. It didn't work. Twice a week. So we started doing about 4 days a week. That way they had someone to work with and communicate with.
Yeah.
And so every time you do a lesson, the stuff was stacking on top.
Yeah.
Prior to that, every time you did a lesson, you were just reinstating what was there because he had already lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go through something today and you don't think about it no more the next week, it's gone.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening there. But then I found out if I took my young ones like that, and we did at least 2, 3, 4 times a week, boy, they would grow.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
So you changed the formula.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And so when you came along, I think we were just getting into that Matthew book.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, once you got, right before that Matthew book, though, I didn't think...
oh, yeah, I want you to tell the story. Like, you almost kicked me out.
Yeah.
you almost gave up on me. So tell me how that happened.
I was thinking that you weren't going to be able to grasp it, and maybe I should just tell your mother. I think maybe she should go into something else. But then you started in that Matthew book, and it looked like you did a whole complete turnaround. You turned around and said, okay, I got it back. And you started growing and playing. And after a while, I mean, it was like you were like a jet had taken off. And till today, I mean, you one of the ones that went all the way through the whole works until the point I was listening to one of your CDs, and they didn't know it was your CD. And so I told Teresa, I said, who is that? I said, I sure like that place. I said, peace. I said, I'm going to have to learn that song right there. I said, God dog, that boy moving that thing fast. Them finger wearing that thing out. She said, that's Zach. I said, who? She said, you ain't listening? I said, yeah, but I didn't hear that one. So, man, things turn around. And I already knew one day that you would get to the point where I would say, show me how you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reverses itself. And that's such a beautiful thing. Such a beautiful thing. Another thing I want to say, you are one of the few students that had 100% support from father.
From both parents.
That's right, from their parents. Yeah, both parents. Most of the time, you don't see a father. You see the mamas, but
Mhm.
you don't see daddies.
Mm.
You know, so I think that played a very, very important part.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get you grounded,
Mhm.
solid. You know.
What do you think the biggest lesson you've learned while teaching? Not just teaching me, but like just teaching students in general.
Patience, patience, and paying attention to the student. You got to decide what type of student you got, who the student is.
Mm-hmm.
Some students learn rapidly, some learn very slow. Some students don't have the ability to think about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
On one way, their mind just
Yeah.
leaves. So you got to learn how to handle each one different.
Mm-hmm.
Develop the patience to understand what that student is going through. And the big job is the teacher's job to reach the student, not the student's job to reach the teacher.
Mm.
You got to find a way to reach your student. You find a way to reach your student, you got to go.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Did you ever think about, in the middle of doing it, like, did you ever think about quitting teaching?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, was it, or like was it like because students were getting it, or is it just like, yeah?
It vexing and get on my nerves sometimes.
Uh-huh.
You know, because a lot of students didn't want to practice.
Yeah.
They just come from whatever reason they were coming from. Yeah, it never vexed me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then I had the few that was excelling, so I stayed for them.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then another thing about that, when God calls you to do something, it's not easy to leave. You got to do what He called you to do.
Right.
You know? So that was the main.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you stayed with it, and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Still doing it. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I got a couple good ones coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. And then how do you still have the passion to learn on your own, or still play on your own? So or it never left.
No, it never leaves. Now there's two people: medicine, doctors, and musician. A doctor's always practicing medicine, and the musician's always practicing music.
Mm-hmm. So you're always
never
practicing.
Ever graduate. We always got to practice. You got to practice until you leave here.
Gotcha.
If you don't, you go there and that piano, especially, be talking about, I don't know you. Shoot, man. It doesn't take long where you don't have the ability
Mm-hmm.
to play the speed, the cleanliness that you used to,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Yeah, you got to practice all the time. Keep it up. You got to practice.
Got you.
So do.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
What is the worst thing that has ever happened to you on a gig? Or any time that you were behind the piano, what's the worst thing that's happened?
I tell you what the worst thing was. There was a time one Sunday morning I was playing, and I played a lick that was so good. I said, "Oh yeah, get it, Mark." And the Holy Spirit said, "Oh, bye." Well, from that moment on, I didn't know how to make chords.
Oh no.
I didn't know I couldn't play. I'm talking about I actually couldn't play no more. I asked the Lord to forgive me. If He give it back, I'll never steal His glory again. This may sound far-fetched, but it's true. How could I not be able to play in 1999 if I've been playing all those years, got all those awards for trophies and things for the best performers, and here it is all of a sudden, I don't even know how to make a G minor chord.
Mm.
Or I look at notes and I don't even know what they were.
Mm.
It didn't last long. He gave back.
Mm-hmm.
But I never stole His glory again. But that was a good sign because that let me know He was really real.
Mm-hmm.
He's real. That's the worst thing. Boy, can you experience, just imagine how you feel if you can't play that piano.
Man, I wouldn't know what to do.
I know it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time, I mean, And you know what? It's kind of like, well, I guess it's time to go. Because without playing the piano, what else I'm going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to do nothing else. That's my life.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing it all my life.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing else. Don't want nothing else.
Yeah.
I'm made of that's what I'm made of.
Yeah.
So that's my worst experience.
Yeah, I feel you. That'll do it. It was a good, humbling experience. I guess it's good to have too.
Oh yeah. I bet I'm humble now.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, because you don't always want to get all cocky like you all that. And musicians have to be careful. God's the one give out the talents, and I ain't ashamed to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he even put you in a position where you can develop it, give you the patience and everything. So if he don't chose you, do what you're supposed to do. But that don't mean you better than this person over there.
Mm-hmm.
They got something else they do. We all got assignment. Your feet do the walking.
Mm-hmm.
Your hand do the touching and grabbing.
Yeah.
You don't touch with your feet.
Yeah.
So that's the way God handles out certain things. You got a talent, I got a talent. This person over there got a talent. All these talents are important.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me? Sometimes we as musicians get stuck on ourselves and we all this and all that, but no. We must remain humble and continue to practice and grow as much as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the segment we do top three. Your top 3 national keyboard players, like big names, and then the top 3 keyboard players you know. Like that you actually know in person. So top 3 national keyboard players, like big names, and then top 3 you know.
Wow. Big names, top 3. I can't think of the name. The guy that plays so fast. Not Vance Taylor. I know him. He was with her when I But God, sickety. I can't think of him now. I liked it. One of the guys out of Texas, and Texas Southern. I can't even think of his name. He was a keyboard player. The other one, this man here has so much speed, his fingers sound like a machine gun. I'm looking right at him because I went to see him one night in Houston, and I couldn't keep up with him. Oscar Peterson.
Yeah. All right.
That name finally came.
Yeah. So you saw Oscar Peterson when he was in his prime.
Man, what you talking about?
Oh, man.
Good God Almighty. Woo.
I know that was something. Because we learned from Oscar Peterson. Yeah.
Yes, Lord. Man, I mean, these things like a machine gun. Man. Yeah. That was one of my top. There's another guy that's in Houston. I can't think his name right now neither. I don't know when my memory things come short. Now, music-wise, melodies and things.
Yeah.
Shoot, I can think of them all day.
All right, well, there you go.
But the names.
Oh, yeah.
They lead me. The names really lead me. Now, people that I knew that Oliver Wells is a very good player that I know. Atlanta got a nice stack up. Who else? Vance Taylor.
Okay.
I like Vance. You know, when I first got to Atlanta, the first 5 keyboard players I met
Yeah.
was a boy. It was something else.
Yeah.
After that, we kind of got on equal territory. But
yeah.
first 5 I met,
Mm-hmm.
that boy played keyboard for Sarah Vaughan.
Whoever played Keyz for Sarah Vaughan?
Yeah, the keyboard player played for Sarah Vaughan. We were down in Savannah one time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was going down there with J. Michael Davis or something. I'm not sure who I was with.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I would go to the club. I would go there and show the keyboard player how to play. Far as I got was to the piano. All I could do was just look. He was wearing that piano out. I couldn't. It's so hot I couldn't touch it. All I could do was look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, I walked back out the door and I said, "Dog, I wonder should I stay here or go back to school?" Oh boy, he was good. He was showing up good, boy. He was making that thing talk.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I have another question. I know this one might be hard to answer. If you could make a super group, like pull together musicians from whatever band that they play in or whoever they play with, even if you don't know their names, but make a super group of like a rhythm section and who you would want to see them sing with. Usually I make it so that they have to be alive, but like for you, I'll change up the rules. Like who would you have wanted to see together? Like for instance, you can be like, I want to see Stevie Wonder's bass player with Earth, Wind and Fire's drummer, whatever. So what band would you want to see, and then who would be singing at the front?
Now Stevie Wonder is another good player.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah, just
Man.
Keyz. Stevie Wonder is.
Boy, have you? What you
Yeah.
talking about? That we was at the Coliseum one night. I was just doing some playing Stevie boy.
Oh, and so you and Stevie were on the same show?
No.
Or you just
Teresa
watched him?
was on the show with Stevie, backing up Gene Kahn.
Okay.
See, and so I was there at the show behind stage to meet Stevie.
Okay.
Because we had just been off that date happened to be there in Atlanta, and I had the opportunity, chance to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
And we playing around.
Oh wait,
and
wait. Are you telling me you played with Stevie Wonder? You jammed with Stevie Wonder?
Yeah, we were behind the curtain, stage,
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
backstage,
Okay, so you
yeah.
didn't play with them.
No.
Okay, all right. I was about to say, man, you've been holding that out on me for however many years.
No.
Okay, gotcha.
But shit, we just back to having fun.
Oh yeah, just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but what would your group be? Your dream group?
Oh boy, let's see. Well, sometime my dream group is Doc Samuels on bass, and I have been in the present with him on bass. You talking about a player? Good God Almighty! Look at the who else?
So you got a bass player. You just need a drummer and
Dwight
at least another keyboard player.
Dwight Smith. Zachary does a good job on keyboards.
Oh man.
Yes, indeed. You sure do. And I respect that. Mostly, I'm going to say this. When it comes down to recording sometimes, my strength is chords.
Yeah.
I'm fat. I don't have the funk skills as some people do. So that's why musicians, even like one of the albums we did, I recorded some of the solo parts, and that was another song that we got another guy to record the solo part.
Okay.
Because the way we want it done.
Gotcha.
With the clarinet sound and the
so that just wasn't really your.
That's right. And so what I think that people should select according to the person's ability, according to their talent, according to what they do.
Oh, yeah.
That way your project comes out a lot better.
Oh yeah. I got you. All right, so we've got one last question. This is well, I'm gonna say it's the last question. I might have some more, but like, what is the one thing you want to leave with the people? Piece of advice, anything you just want to say?
Yeah, if you start toward the hill on the mountain, if you start going toward that mountain, don't stop until you finish. Don't ever start something and don't finish it. Because if you had the desire, the ability to start it, I mean you can finish it.
All right. Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me. I've said it before, but like, if I didn't have Mark Mitchell, the version of Zach Wilson the version of Zach Wilson that I am now would not exist. You know, because there's you, there's Steven, Jay Adams, Tyrone Jackson. But literally, without you not cutting me off, I wouldn't be around. And I appreciate you always. And yeah. But no, I'm gonna let you know. I always let you know, and I'm very appreciative.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So this has been another episode of the Major Keyz podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. Keep pressing on. We'll see y'all next time.
All right. Goodbye.